Thank you. Mr. Morris.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Morris. I am currently serving as Vice President on the Board of Education for Mountain Grove Schools. I've been on the board for almost 5 years now, and have seen a lot of things and enjoyed serving on the board and getting to know the school district here better. I'm 43 years old and moved here in 2018 with my wife and family. Have a son, Peter, who's back there as a junior at the high school here. And I'm an attorney in town. I have a law practice that I opened in 2018. I've been practicing law here for going on 8 years, and I have 9 years of experience practicing from the state of Texas, where I'm from. I love being on board. I appreciate the opportunity to continue serving on it. I think the teachers are very important. We need to support them because all the memories I have from attending public school growing up in the state of Texas, the teachers are what I remember. They're the ones that helped me in real love for
Thank you so much, Mr. Morris. You will notice I will cut in right when the time is up. That's for the fairness for each of our candidates, as well as so that we aren't here until 10 p.m. All right, moving right into our questions. Our first question is going to go to Kate Shannon. And the question, it's actually for everyone. Kate's going to start us, and then we'll do the same round robin with everyone. What unique professional or personal experiences do you have that qualify you to oversee a multi-million-dollar public budget? You have 1 minute to answer.
Ooh, what life experiences? I'll tell you what, as a mom of 6 kids, and my husband fills our bank account, I run the family, and I do the taxes and pay the bills. If you can run a family of 8, you can run the country. So I feel like I have experience to run a Fortune 500. I know how to use a budget, and I'm very pro Dave Ramsey. So I'm very careful with how I spend not only my money. I think it's important how I think about how we spend the community's money.
Perfect, thank you very much. Ms. Williams.
Owning a small business, you have to have a very tight budget and watch everything. So as owning Williams General Store and wanting it to succeed, I have to be very tight on everything. That translates to my farm life. We have a farm and managing children, and all of those items come collectively together. A large school business here, I can manage the budget. I like tight budgets. I like to know exactly what is going on and where it's going and why is it going there. It has to serve a purpose for us to agree that it is for the betterment of our school. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Allen.
So being the director of a division of a large company, I specifically deal with multi-million-dollar budgets every day. I have spreadsheets and keep track of all the expenditures, and as well as managing my guys that work for me, all their time and effort to go into a job so that we meet our budget goals, and at the end of the project, we're profitable. If you're not profitable, it doesn't take long for that to start to show. And the more you're profitable, your bottom line, that money can flow. And the students and all the activities. On a personal note, I also sit on the board at First Christian Church, and we are called to be stewards of the money that we are given. And
Thank you so much. I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to make sure we're keeping time with everybody. Corey.
So as the director of pharmacy services at the hospital, it's very important to keep the budget. We're constantly having to monitor drug usage and spending.
Thank you. Do I need to repeat myself, or?
Yeah, go ahead and start.
As the director of pharmacy services at Mercy St. Rose's Hospital, it's very important to constantly monitor the budget. We have to balance both paying for expensive medications to provide for the patients, but also
we can't go over a certain amount or everything. So it's constantly intaking and looking and seeing where we can make adjustments and still provide everything that we need to. So balancing the budget is something that I do on a daily for the hospital. For the pharmacy department.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris.
Thank you. I think serving on the board for almost 5 years now, I've had some experience in looking over and reviewing financial statements, the budget, looking at the proposals and what we're spending money on, with an eye always to whenever we spend money on something, it's not available to spend on something else. I want to be sure our teachers are well paid, that they're at least as well compensated as any in the surrounding school districts. And I also run a small business, have a family, and involved in that family budgeting process. And I do have a leadership role at my church as well that involves looking over financial statements and making sure that revenues and expenses line up and are appropriate.
Thank you, Dr. Fitton.
All right, so between undergrad and vet school, I worked for a government agency where I was in charge of a horse patrol unit, and we had a budget between $7 and $12 million, and so I managed that for about 3 years. So I have quite a bit of experience managing large budgets. As far as leadership, I'm also on the Missouri Veterinary Medical Association's executive board. And so that organization represents the veterinarians in the state of Missouri. And so I help make decisions guiding the future of veterinary medicine in Missouri. I'm also on the large animal loan repayment selection committee for the state of Missouri. So we award $360,000 a year to veterinary students based on their interest in serving in rural medicine, large animal medicine in rural communities. In addition, I'm a small business here in town and try to make decisions that are best for my employees' families and trying to support them and provide good services for the
Perfect. Thank you very much. Multiple candidates in the last question referenced teachers and being able to pay teachers. Mountain Grove's average teacher salary is around $44,000, including but not limited to pay. What can the board do to improve teacher morale and reduce burnout? We're going to start with Mr. Morris. And you have 1 minute.
All right, thank you. So obviously, compensation is important. And as I said, I think it's very important that our teachers be compensated at least as well as any of the surrounding school districts and those who are our peer districts. In addition to pay, however, I think the decision that the board made to go to a mostly 4-day week is something that reflects how much work our teachers do, and the fact that they were probably putting in 6-day weeks before when we had a 5-day week calendar. Now that we're mostly 4 days, it's more of a full-time job rather than full-time plus overtime. But we know our teachers put in a lot of effort, and I mean, certainly recognizing them, recognizing those who achieve extraordinary results, that's something that matters. But I mean, having mostly a 4-day week calendar, I think, is important as well to keep us competitive with surrounding school districts.
Thank you very much. I'm going to change things up. We're going to go with this. Corey.
So I would say that we need to look at the budget and see. Can you hear me now? I'm sorry, I am not good about holding the microphone to my face. We need to be competitive with the other school districts. And so if we're not competitive financially with the other school districts, how are we going to, one, keep the good teachers in our area, and then two, bring in other teachers that are also competitive as well. So I think that looking at the budget, seeing where we can move things around to help increase the cost or help increase pay of our teachers to compensate for the benefit of their time.
Thank you very much.
So pay is definitely one of the major components of the time around, but as my employees, they give them things throughout the week or through the month. You set goals for them and you help them accomplish them. You don't make them feel like that they are going it alone with the things that they're trying to accomplish with the students. Usually attitude reflects leadership. So if there's bad morale in my division, it reflects directly on me. So we have to make sure also that our administration is getting the tools that they need so that they can better equip our teachers to take the stress off of them in some areas, whether that's giving them more help in the classroom or different materials and things of that nature. I agree that the work we go into
Thank you very
is
much. We'll start all the way back down to the end with Ms. Williams.
So in this past year, running a small business, minimum wage jumped from $13.75 to $15 January 1st. That's about a little less than an 18% increase. So I would like to see that reflected into our teachers' pay going forward in the next year to two. Obviously, I don't know within our budget at the moment, 18% would be $7,000. So if we could get somewhere in that 10 to 12% of a raise for them, I think that would help them, their families. As far as morale, I would be interested to talk to different teachers and see what they believe would help them, keep moving forward, keep striving for those 15 years, 20 years of retirement for our teachers. Teachers, put on a lot of work and effort for our students, and I think it's important that we support them financially and to see what, we could do to help benefit them.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
This is one of the most important questions for me, why I want to run for school board. My children come home and they find joy in the classroom, but I have watched a lot of teachers leave the classroom from burnout, especially teachers my kids loved. And I would like to talk to the teachers. I want to support teachers and administrators. What do they need? And money always makes things better when you're living paycheck to paycheck. But really, I think it comes down to talking to our teachers and administrators. What can we do to support you? What's in our power to support you? Because they're the ones who matter. They're the ones who move our education forward.
Thank you very much. That's good.
So one thing I learned very quickly when I bought Whetstone Med Clinic is when you have employees that are burned out, when you offer them pay raises, they're always appreciative and need the raise, but a lot of times it doesn't help with burnout. So I 100% support teachers making more money, and they should be paid as much as we can. But engaging with teachers and giving them the moral support that they need and supporting them whenever there's issues that come up, I think is the most important thing as far as keeping them happy and letting them feel like they're supported and needed and appreciated. Definitely the 4-day work week gives them time to breathe and kind of get caught up. But I think they're the core of the school system, and we need to understand what they need and help provide the resources that they require.
Perfect. Thank you very much. The next question is going to start with Ms. Williams at the end. What do you believe, in 30 seconds or less, are the three most significant challenges currently facing our district?
I believe attendance at high school level. I believe reading in our elementary. I think we need reading coaches in each grade level. And the third would be our pay. Hopefully we can get the pay higher for our teachers and help support them financially.
Ms. Shannon.
I would say joy in the classroom, not just for the kids, but the teachers. And there's always going to be a struggle financially, trying to figure out how to make things work, how to get the supplies we need, resources, those are important. And how to get parents in the community to be a more active participant in their children's education. I think the best way to educate our community is to have teachers be supported by parents, and to parents
Thank you so much.
kids.
So a big thing for me is making sure the teachers and administrators feel like they have an open line of communication and feel like they're supported. I know never going to make everyone happy all the time, but making them feel like they're heard and understood. Obviously, attendance is a really big deal. We want our kids here learning and having a safe environment to learn in where they feel like they can not be faced with things coming in and that they feel secure in their education system.
Thank you so much.
I would say the top three we need to focus on are fostering a love of learning in the classroom among students, helping them to really enjoy learning and to be curious about the world. Teacher morale, helping every teacher feel like they're part of the team and that they're achieving something meaningful. That's extremely important. And then just cooperation and unity among the administration of the school district, I think is essential.
Thank you very much. Cool.
I would say preparedness once graduating from high school. So whether you want to go into higher education, you need to make sure that you're prepared for that. Whether you want to go into a trade, excuse me. Making sure that we provide students with the help that they need, whether it be tutoring or special needs, so speech, all of that, we need to be able to provide to allow our kids, not only that need the most help, but also those who are on the brighter side to be.
Thank you so much. I know, rapid fire questions, I'm sorry.
Number one would be resources in the areas of reading and math, extra resources, whether that be extra teachers or tutoring. I also like to see more emphasis put on the technical side of things with the VOTEC as far as the welding and the trades, things of that nature. And then third would be overall unity of the school district, where all things are on the same level.
Perfect, thank you very much. Multiple candidates just mentioned unity across different locations and across the school. One thing that you may have to handle as a school board member is disagreements between yourself and the superintendent. Starting with Mr. Allen here at the end. I know, I'm sorry, Ron.
Would you please leave the room?
Starting with Mr. Allen at the end, how should this district handle disagreements between the board and the superintendent? You have 30 seconds.
First of all, in an adult manner, we've lost that in this country where we can have an issue and talk it out one-on-one and then come to a solution and then move forward. The school district should not be in the business of coming to a standstill because they can't get over something. So just talking it out and conflict resolution.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would say, just being able to have that one-on-one, try and see both sides, and try to come to a agreement so that we can pass whatever the issue is.
Thank you.
Open lines of communication and reporting. I feel like Dr. Gurla has that with the board right now. I call him anytime. I feel like he can call me anytime. I feel like it works pretty well. When there are disagreements, the board has to remember the superintendent is a key figure in running the school, setting the tone for everything. But also the superintendent always knows that the board is the one that hires or retains him. So I think there's respect and mutual dependence there.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I think, like everyone else has said, communication is really important, and just understanding that we're all on the same team and we want what's best for the community and for our kids. And I would just pledge that once a decision or a course has been decided upon, even if, for example, I don't agree with everyone else, once the board makes a decision, then I would support that decision because it's important to have unity amongst ourselves whenever we move forward. Thanks.
Thank you.
I don't talk to anyone I have a disagreement with until I've prayed first. I have to have the right mindset. And when I do that, then I enter a conversation with, I don't know the entire story of the situation. And so I need to be ready to listen and hope that Dr. Gurla would also listen. I would try to do it with a lot of respect.
Thank you.
Just like everyone else says, communication is our number one. We are on the same team. Whatever we decide, we will both move forward with it. Happy, eager to see non-rural school districts be the number one and the best that we can be.
Thank you very much. Next question, we're going to start with Corey. There's a little bit of a comment before the question. Some of you may know I'm a recent transplant to Mountain Grove. I'm not a Missouri native. I came from a a very scary place called California in August. And one of the things that we absolutely love about our community personally, the way that the community shows not just community in itself, but the way the community. However, different decisions that come through the state level and through the nation challenge those in the school site. For 30 seconds in response, I'm looking for how do you plan to balance your personal opinions with the needs of the entire community? Starting with you, Corey.
I want to listen to, so, and anytime you have to make a decision, you have to always weigh how you personally believe and what you feel is best for those who either differ from you or, and even in the community that align with you, but you need to be able to listen and have the willingness to compromise on certain things but also stand your ground. You have to be able to say, this is what I believe, I hear your side, and we can come to an agreement within those boundaries.
We go this way. Yep, we're going to go this way, Mr. Allen.
So in all decisions, I try to let my faith lead me in the decisions that I make. And, through thoughtful prayer and consideration, I typically try to come to an understanding of what the other person is saying. And we have to be able to say and hold our ground and stand firm in our faith. Because if we don't stand on what we believe, then we won't be making decisions in the best interest of anybody.
Thank you very much. Ms. Williams.
I believe we can have difference of opinions. I'm strong within my faith, and I think, we would never want to jeopardize our students in a way that maybe the government sees things versus our small town, because that sometimes can be very different. And we can hold true to our values here, sometimes when they are pressing us to do things that maybe we shouldn't.
Thank you very much.
I believe in limited government. I do believe it's important to have government in place, and I see the value of having a strong community like a public school system, and how to keep contention and how to be unified is listen to each other, be open to dialogue, try to work with what's in the best interest of our community and not just me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think when you look at personal opinions, I would address the issues with the school district just like I would a sick patient at work. I would just look at the evidence and try to leave my preconceived ideas out of it and just follow the evidence where it takes me and just let the board and everybody provide their opinion and just make the best decision without having my opinion or my worldview imposed on it.
Thank you very much.
As an attorney, I deal with situations all the time where people have differences of opinion and sometimes see the facts differently. I also have people from the community in my office every day, often whom I've never met before, and they have different perspectives. I try to be a good listener while also holding fast to the things that I think are important, my principles, and then try to be able to explain back to them their position to the point where they're like, yes, you've heard me, you understand, you know what I'm trying to say, and then I'll say, here's what I think.
Thank you very much. Next question is going to be a 1-minute response. I had it down for 30 seconds, but I'm feeling like I'm rushing you guys, so I feel a little bit. How do you define academic excellence, and how should the board measure it? We're going to start with the Shannon.
That's a really good question I have. My son in 8th grade, he's got an A in math, but sometimes he gets in trouble because he's playing with a calculator or writing his own stories instead of doing the school class assignment. I think excellence is not going to look the same for everybody because people's brains, some are STEM brains, some are art brains. Excellent means that no one's failing a class, that everyone is pursuing their interest where they can have a life skill when they're done. And hopefully they can read and do basic math for their financial future so that they can make sure they can do their taxes. I mean, I don't think we think about those things very often at school, but being able to do the basic life skills as an adult, and then also being able to provide for themselves after they leave.
Thank you very much.
There we go.
We'll go this way.
So I think academic excellence is a little bit different for everybody. I know not every kid is geared to go to college, and I think we need to have a really strong LOAG curriculum to help prepare those kids for having careers that are fulfilling and productive. And for those kids that want to go to college, I think we should have a curriculum that's challenging. And it's hard to compare smaller districts like this to big national districts. So I think it's important to compare our academic performance to other schools in the area and not necessarily be compared against like Springfield or St. Louis or some of those bigger districts.
Thank you very much. Mr. Morrison.
I'll start by saying I agree with everything these two have said so far, and I'd just like to adopt those answers as well. Excellence is going to look different depending on the individual. I think an important part of academic excellence is fostering curiosity and feel a sense of achievement. To recognize their effort. Effort is something that is going to lead to success in life, regardless of the field or area that the person goes into to provide for themselves, whatever they devote themselves to. Effort is important, and we need to recognize effort. Of course, results also matter, and so we measure. But at the end of the day, every one of our students has incredible value. Everyone is important, and I think we need to foster curiosity and effort in our students.
Thank you very much.
To me, academic excellence means by the time you graduate, you are prepared for life. So whether you are wanting to go into higher academia and go to college and go and do something in that route, or whether you want to learn a trade and become a welder, by the time you leave here, you need to be proficient or at least well equipped to continue on the path you choose. It also means being well-rounded. It's not just, oh, you're great at sports, oh, you're great at science and math and all that, but learning to play an instrument, foreign language. It's the incumbent, it's the embodiment of everything rolled into one, makes your actual education excellent. And, it's hard to actually test for that. I'm sure there's standardized testings for the school, but it's how well are our students post-graduation? Are they finding a job? Are they going down the career paths that they
Thank you very much. Mr. John.
So everybody's made great points. Academic excellence definitely is different for every single person. By the time a student graduates and walks across that podium to get their degree, they should be able to step out into the world with the confidence of this is what I feel like I want to do, and my teachers have prepared me because we've been able to communicate that with each other. So whether it's trades, whether it's college, whether it's just going to work, as a school district, we should have fostered all of those things and helped them foster their thoughts and prepare them with the knowledge that they need to be successful the minute they step out the door.
Thank you very much. Ms. Williams.
I believe our school district has done a great job over many years of providing the opportunities for children to have excellence with the upper higher and math classes, offering college courses, our VOTEC. I know we've added more to our VOTEC, and I know that we keep doing so for those students who do not choose to go to college, that just want to go into the workforce. So I think we're doing a great job. If anything, I think we should help ask the question more, what, with these students, what more can we do to help you, to get around their interests and make sure we're serving them right.
Thank you very much. And actually, Ms. Williams, if you want to hold on to the microphone, I'm going to start with you. Just to give Ron a rest over there in the wings. Test scores is something that's come up a few times during this discussion. Recent data shows proficiency levels vary across subjects. What's your plan to help the district improve state assessment, the MAP or the EOC scores in 1 minute or less?
I believe our test scores are fairly high within our SCA. I believe in elementary, we do need reading coaches at every grade level. Highly important that we get a great foundation. I think it'll help our scores later at 4th grade and on into middle school and, up into high school. In math, I definitely think more tutoring, if we could do anything. How can we get these students to go to after-school tutoring is what I would like to see. How can we get these parents involved in that? I believe that would also help. And just, again, offering, higher courses for our high school students that want to jump at those opportunities.
Thank you very much.
I don't want to radically change what Mountain Grove's doing. I think they're doing a fantastic job, but of the teachers I've spoken to, it's focusing too much on the test scores and teaching for the tests that have burned out. And I think if you focus on teaching in creative ways and kids find joy in learning, they're going to test. When you stress kids out, their brains shut down. And like I said, I'm not here to radically change how we're doing things. I think that focusing too much on test scores is stressing out teachers and students.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that, and I would add, our teachers only have our kids for a couple hours a day. Really getting parents engaged at home to try to enhance and reinforce what the kids have learned in school is really important. So not all kids are great test takers, and so sometimes the testing I feel like is not always indicative of what is really going on in the school district. But it is important to look at those data points and see kind of where we rank against everyone else. But what I would like to do is help keep teachers engaged and try to get the parents more involved in their kids' education, because that's really where it all is going to come from.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison.
I think fostering unity is going to be very important. We may be in a competition with other school districts around us, but within our district, we need to be a team. We need to identify those things that are leading to extraordinary outcomes for students, and then share those as broadly as possible. That way, teachers who are having great success, who are real standout teachers, they can help other teachers to learn those same methods, and hopefully to catch that same passion and morale that they have. And then that transfers to the students very often. So I think that'll help our scores. I mean, it's not all scores. I think curiosity, drive comes from within a lot of times, but students can catch that from each other and from their teachers.
Thank you very much. Courtney.
I agree with that as well. I know going through college and everything, the classes that you had that amazing teacher that made it fun to learn, and you just grasped everything so much more clearly. It was so much easier to go back and study the material and do better on the test. So if there it doesn't sound like our testing is that bad, but increasing teaching morale, helping them to be more engaging when teaching the material, which will help the student actually learn better. And then second, getting the parent involved. Teaching, like we need to have sit down and be like, hey, whatever the material is, even if you don't know the material, it doesn't mean that you can't help your students study, right? You can learn with them. You're engaging with your child, you're spending time with them, and then your child then realizes that, hey, this is important for me to learn this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hahn.
So test scores are obviously important to the district, but I agree that they're not everything. To really understand how we can improve the test scores, we need to be on the ground floor and talk to the teachers. The teachers are there every day handling all the subjects, they're handling the students, and they're going to be able to give you the most perspective on what needs to be done to drive the test scores. Now, I agree that we don't necessarily need to be compared to some larger school districts, but I do believe our goal as Mountain Grove and our area, we should be the shining light. Every school district around should want to be like us. So while I don't necessarily put everything into test scores, we should definitely be goal driven to where we have high expectations for our students. Because we don't have high expectations for them.
Thank you. So we made it, I'm sorry, Mr. Allen, I'm not trying to do it. And actually, Ron, I'm going to keep it back over here. Mr. Allen's going to get our first question next. We made it through the first 7 questions of our forum tonight. Earlier in the evening, there were question forms out at the backfield. If any of you have one that you have filled out, please hand it to Ron. He's going to walk around the room right now and grab those from you. I'm going to walk off stage right here because my beautiful tech assistant, my wife Amanda, has informed me that the computer that's live streaming is about to die. So I'm going to get the cable real quick. As Ron's making his way up here, I do want to take a moment to say a huge thank you to all of the members of the district office and of the VOTEC team. I would be surprised if you guys did not know there was a fire on Thursday in the VOTEC building. And they have really been working Thursday, Friday, over the weekend and today, led by Dr. Gerla, getting different accommodations lined up for those different classes so that the education can continue for those students. So I'd like to take a moment and say a huge thank you to the district for all of the work they do. All right, we're going to do a submitted question. Oh, okay. We're going to start with you, Mr. Allen. We're going to work that way down the table. Rank these areas from most important to least important in your opinion. Number 1, smaller class sizes. Number 2, administration that takes care of behavior problems so teachers can teach. And number 3, updating school facilities, especially classrooms.
So number 1, I would say is number 2.
Administration that takes care of behavior problems so teachers can teach.
Number 3 would be number 1.
Okay. Thank you very much. Here, I'm going to pass this down with you guys. Sorry. If you want to make it more clear, if you want to answer that again, Mr. Allen, I give you another meeting.
Okay,
And just to make sure you have everything correct.
Number 1 would be the number 2 question was administration that takes care of behavior problems so teachers can teach. Then number 2 would be updating school facilities. I know we have some buildings that are reaching extreme age and having issues with those. Then number 3 would be smaller class sizes.
Thank you very much. Courtney.
I have the same exact answer. Yes, first would be administration takes care of the behavior problems. So teachers can teach to updating school facilities, special classrooms, and 3 smaller classes.
I'm going to take a slightly different tack, but I do agree on the first priority should be administration that takes care of behavior problems so that teachers can teach. There's a major disruption in the classroom that really interferes with teaching. But my number 2 priority of these 3, how I rate them, like smaller class sizes is probably second most important after that. And then I put updating school facilities third. There is some updating that needs to be done, but we have been paying attention to that as a board. We are trying to address issues as they come up. And I feel like we have hit the most important ones as they come up. Now, are there more things we'd like to do? Of course. But part of it is also keeping taxes low.
Perfect. Very much. Dr. Cody.
So I would look at this a little bit differently. I think smaller class size would be the top priority for me.
And then, as teachers have smaller class sizes, we'll be able to identify those kids that have behavior issues and then might be able to handle that a little more delicately. And then the infrastructure would have to go along with the smaller class sizes. And then administration that's taking care of behavior issues, I think the administration is, always has that a priority, and I will continue to advocate for the administration to be able to take care of the problems that they have.
Thank you very much, Shannon.
This is probably the toughest question tonight because I go back and forth and maybe it's a cheap shot, but I would like to talk to the teachers and say, what do you think would help best? Because I'm not in the classroom every day. Because I go back and forth between behavior problems and smaller class sizes. I think updating school facilities would be third for me. I know behavioral problems are a huge roadblock to learning. So I don't know. I would leave it up to the teachers. Teachers, what do you think is most important?
Thank you very much, Ms. Williams.
My number one would be administration taking care of the behavior problems just to help the learning continue within the classrooms. I like smaller class sizes if we could ever get to that point. I think that's a great opportunity for the children. And then lastly, updating the school. I think, our facilities are very nice, and I think they do a good job at trying to keep up with those updates and improvements.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to switch into doing just crowd questions right now, if that's okay with all of you. There is one crowd question I am not going to put to the candidates, and it's something that I have to answer as the one who coordinated the candidate forum. The question was, where is Sheena White? Sheena White is celebrating her birthday on a hiking vacation in Utah. When we worked with Dr. Gerlev to have available dates, we wanted to work around not only the school availability, but also sports, and I know Wednesday is a huge church night. This was the date that fell available, and unfortunately, Sheena did have a prior engagement that kept her out of state. So she is out of the state, she'll be back tomorrow. We are going to give her a chance to answer the questions that we asked these candidates. I will be giving all of these questions to her to have a chance to answer and post them on her own personal campaign or personal pages, but that is where she is. I do have a question here. We're going to start with Cody. I don't think I've picked on you enough tonight. School board members should be more than a face at a board meeting. How do you feel about dedicating time to be on school premises to have your boots on the ground?
So, I think that's critical to understanding what challenges the teachers face, and also just keep it, watching out and seeing how the kids are interacting, in the facilities and with teachers and administration. I think being amongst the community and being involved in the school outside of board meetings is critical, and I would commit to being around and asking questions and taking input from anybody that has something to say.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, I think that's a great idea. And I have the flexibility and time to do it because I stay home with my children. And I'm often up at the schools. Sometimes I drop off things, notes for teachers, like kind words, thanking them. Sometimes I drop off gift cards. I would like to do more of that to show appreciation and talk to them. Hey, what do you do? And I'm grateful that I have the flexibility to do that as a stay-at-home mom.
Okay, thank you.
It's highly important that school board members are involved in the community and in the school. I'm in and around the school all the time with my children. We're involved in sports, archery, other academic items that we go to. So highly important that we are involved, seeing what's going on, understanding what is needed, and just be there to listen to the community and to help, let our decision making on the board come from the community and what we're being told.
Great, thank you. Mr. Allen.
So as a board member, the community should definitely see you out and about at school functions.
whether that's sporting events or, you know, any kind of academic things or even plays right here in this building on the stage. Any of those things, I try to support. We have a large youth group and they have very many different interests. So I try to show up at as many things as I can to support them, even though they're not necessarily my interest. But the families know that you care and they know that you support them. And there's only one way to do that, and that's to be in the community.
It's really interacting, being able to not only see firsthand, but also have that dialogue to make changes if necessary to improve.
All right. I'm going to push back a little bit on the premise of the question. I do think it's important to be involved and be present at activities. However, I also think it is good to interact with people in the community at times and places other than just school functions and events. There is a large portion of our community that is helping fund the school district, but they may not have students currently at the school district. And I think it's important to hear their input as well. Now they have an investment, of course, in the school district. They will succeed and it'll be good. I go to a lot of events, but I don't go to nearly as many as some other board members. And I lean on them when it comes to like, what are you hearing at events, and that's okay. But I think there is some value to having a little bit of an outsider view when it comes to the school as well. Because if you're at every school event, sometimes you see everything from a school perspective, and it's important to also see the overall perspective of the community when it comes to what's best for the school district.
That's all right. I'm loud enough. I don't need it. One of the, I like that you touched on the fact that sometimes you need an outside voice or outside perspective to things going on in the school district. One of the submitted questions was, do your children attend school at Mountain Grove schools? And if not, if you homeschool, why do you want to be on the school board? So we're going to start with Corey.
I have 3 children. 2 of them are currently enrolled in the school district, and then one is actually, I think, with parents and teachers as well, and she's going to be in preschool next year. So all of my kids are actually enrolled.
So I do not have kids in the Mountain Grove school system. They've all graduated, but I do have grandchildren. I have 2 currently, one in 2nd grade, one in kindergarten, and several more on the way that live in the district. At some point, they will reach that age. And so, yeah, my kids are grown and out, but my grandkids are starting to come through.
I have 2 children in the Mountain Grove School District, one in elementary and one in middle school.
Last year I had 4 kids enrolled in Mountain Grove Public Schools. This year I have 2 homeschooled and 3 enrolled in public school. I allowed my children to decide. I had 2 children. One was increasingly anxious with public school. He expressed a desire for 3 years to be homeschooled, and I put it off. He's homeschooled this year. And then my daughter, I have 5 boys and 1 girl. She had an interest in doing lots of extracurriculars outside of public school, and it fit our family dynamic to have her homeschooled so that she could do all these other extracurriculars outside of school. And at the beginning of 2027, I'll have 4 kids enrolled in public school and maybe 2 homeschooled. That's something that I leave up to my children. Something they want to do or not.
So I have 3 kids, 12, 6, and 3, and so I have 2. I have 1 in middle school, 1 in elementary school, and 1 getting ready to start preschool. So definitely will be in the Mountain Grove school system for a long time.
Right. My wife and I have been married for over 21 years. She was almost exclusively homeschooled, and I was exclusively public school. And so we've had kind of an interesting hybrid situation. We've always asked our kids input on what they would prefer. My son Peter is a junior, and he's always done really well in school, likes the public school environment, and I definitely have an interest in making sure that he gets their own adult lives. And then our 4 younger kids, younger than our junior in high school, they are all homeschooled right now. They've had some input in that. And we feel like that is really good for them. I believe that the family and the home is the fundamental unit of society. I think that parents and their children should have the opportunity to choose what works best for them. And everyone needs a good public school option for education.
Thank you very much.
I get to talk on it. No. So I'm going to kind of summarize this one a little bit that was submitted. And as somebody that runs a newspaper, I'm learning all the time that I'll talk to someone and didn't realize that there's somebody's brother or somebody's uncle. I start connecting dots. So that's kind of what the question is basically talking about, whether it be relations with other school board candidates, relations with other staff in the district. Basically, how will you handle how you look at making decisions based on knowing that you also have family that works with the district. That makes sense. I'll let you know.
The only person I'm related to in the district is Ryan Morris. He's my brother-in-law. I am not related to anyone in the district here. So.
I'm related to Logan Williams. He is on the school board right now, and we definitely have different opinions. I believe we both can bring a lot to the table and help support our school and the staff.
Just for clarification, are you also related to a second member on the school board? I want to give you a chance to clarify.
I did forget my cousin, Amanda. Amanda Owens is my cousin as well. Again, different opinions, thought processes on everyday life, to children, to school, to, our businesses. So definitely we bring a lot to the table, and we just want to support the school district, support our teachers, and help it grow and be the best that it can be.
I am not related to anybody on the school board or anybody running, but it would take a long time to tell you all the people I'm related to in the school district. Because my wife's a teacher, my sisters are teachers, I have, so many, my brother-in-law's a teacher, I have so many that when you grow up in this area, you know everybody, and whether they're actually family or not, they really are family in this community. So not on the school board, I'm not related, but in the school district, there's many.
To my knowledge, I'm not related to anyone on the school board.
The reason this question is important is because if a board member votes to employ or award a contract to a relative that doesn't even have to be super close, but a reasonably close relative, then you forfeit your seat. And so you're off the board. And we have to be very careful on the board right now that individuals who are related to administrators or faculty do not take part in those deliberations or that voting. We don't want them to accidentally lose their seat on the board. I feel like that's a strength. That's something I offer. I moved here in 2018. I do have a lot of family in the area, but fortunately, none of them are employed by the school district, and none of them really apply for contracts with the school district. And so I'm able to freely vote and deliberate on anything that comes before the board.
Yeah, I would just echo that. I don't have any family ties to the board or to the school district. But I do feel like that gives me kind of a fresh set of eyes to take a look at things and make decisions that are unbiased or just objectively look at whatever the board is dealing with.
So we receive, as Ron stated in the last question, sometimes as journalists, we have to adapt what someone is asking to make it less directed towards a particular individual. So with this particular question, if you wrote it, you'll be able to tell exactly what the question was and where I'm going with it. I'm going to start with Ms. Williams, and we'll work our way this way. It is the understanding of the community that one or more of you may be running for a different elected office in the near future. If you were to get elected to that position and to school board, would you be available for school board meetings and would you complete your term on the school board?
I'm not running for any other office besides the school board, so I should not have any conflicts.
My dream in 7th grade was to be a U.S. Senator, but as I become a 44-year-old mother, I'm like, I don't want any part of the U.S. Senate. I am not running for anything besides school board.
I'm also not running for any other elected office, so I would be able to make meetings.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to address this question. I did file to run as Associate Circuit Judge for Wright County. When I filed to run for the school board, to stay on the board, it was last December. And at that time, we did not know that the current Associate Circuit Judge was going to be retiring at the end of this year. So I signed up to run again to stay on the school board. When we learned of Judge Inkster's retirement that's upcoming, I decided to run for Associate Circuit Judge. Now, to answer that question, I don't know if I'm going to win either of these elections. And so if I lose both, no problem. I just have more time to be at home with my family. If I am elected, if I'm chosen by the voters to continue on school board, and I lose the judge election, then I'll serve the entire term here and do another 3 years on school board to the 5 I've already got. If I happen to win both, then I feel like to be impartial in my responsibility as Associate Circuit Judge, I would need to resign at the end of this year and not continue on school board. And if I'm fortunate enough to be in that position, that's what I would do.
I am not running for any other office.
I'm not running for any other office.
I knew it was going to come. Trying to be as impartial as possible. We're going to shift gears back to some of the questions that we prepared. In terms of costs, everyone is feeling costs everywhere. The cost of the pump, the cost of the grocery store. With inflation impacting costs, how will you prioritize spending if the district faces a large budget shortfall? And we're going to start with Ryan. So I got to be
Well, first, taking a look at the budget, and I'm assuming by shortfall, you mean lack of funds coming in from the government. So first of all, you have to just look at your budget and immediately try to cut the things that are not essential. The most essential things would be your teachers and administration and things of that sort. So you try to hold your core together, and then you just work from the bottom up until you make your budget plan.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I echo the same thing. We have to do a comprehensive review of the budget, see where we can cut back costs. If there's a way, instead of eliminating something, maybe we can kind of dial it back just so that we can save money in each area so that we can continue on and make the budget so that we don't go over.
I agree. We're fortunate not to have really been in that position so far during the time on the board. We've always been able to do what we need to with the funds available to us through our different revenue streams. There have been some proposals sometimes to do more and to raise taxes. I've always been against that. I think our tax rate is fine where it is. Now, if we were to find ourselves in a position where there were not enough funds to go around for the basic core mission, then yes, we focus on teachers. We need good teachers. We don't have good teachers, then teaching is not going to be effective in the classroom. So that's the last thing that we cut. We just start from least essential and just cut outward in.
Yeah, I would agree. It's really hard without looking at a specific budget to know what areas could be cut. But I think in general, it's important to look at anything that could be redundant or inefficient and try to trim as much fat as you can. Obviously, our priority would be providing our educators with what they need and just promoting efficiency and just taking a hard look at things that, just to prioritize what the teachers need. Thanks.
I agree with everything that's said. I know it's cheap, but I also don't believe in spending money you don't have. I believe in, or I'm not opposed to fundraisers or writing grants either. Like, I think if you can come up with money without raising taxes, I am interested in hearing those things. But I also think not being able to look at everything, I wouldn't know where to trim something. But I certainly wouldn't trim teachers' salaries.
I think all of them, just keeping our teachers, the lights on, the most important things, getting rid of what we believe we can do without seeing the budget, without seeing every little thing that we are spending money on. It's hard to give you the full answer, but if needed to, I'm sure we can all come up with the right answer and the best decision.
Next question, we're going to start with Mr. Morris. How can the district better support at-risk students or those with special education needs?
All right, so we hired Dr. Erin Swafford. She's amazing. It's important to have people who understand the needs of children who just are atypical neurologically. There are lots of individuals who either need an individualized education plan, IEP, or individuals who are gifted, and we can't always lump them in with every other student because it's just not going to be effective for them. So we need to identify which students. I think early identification of students who need some kind of special attention one way or another in education is vital so that we can give them what they need. And then work with parents. Communication with parents is very important when meeting the needs of those with IEPs or in the gifted program. Because the parents spend even more time with the kids than the teachers do very often. And so I think partnership is always
Yeah, I again echo that same thing. Look at those students who need help, both in one direction where, let's say, they need speech therapy, or they have dyslexia, right? Give them the help that they need, but also help those students that are in the gifted program to help them excel and do better and better. But yeah, just provide resources so that all students can actually.
Most important thing to understand is at-risk students are just as important as your high academic achievers. Mount Grove has always done an excellent job at supporting those kids. With Mrs. Swafford now, but any director we've had before, and all the teachers in all the buildings, we have unbelievable special education teachers. We always have, going back to when I was in school. And I think the most important thing we need to remember is we don't need to cut the resources for those teachers. If those special education teachers come to us and say, we could use one more, or one more person to help us, or we need to listen to those concerns so that they're fully supported.
I believe we need to identify early that is the best to support them throughout their years with us. And then, like Brian said, support if they need more resources, another teacher, let's get them to them just so we can help those students excel and grow them throughout their years with us.
I read a brilliant quote once that the best source of inspiration is information. And I'm not a micromanager. I'm going to take it to the parents and the teachers and gather information. What do the teachers think? How, parents, can we support your child? Because I think to foster that, what do you call it? Sorry, right? when you're talking about like kids in school, to foster creativity, foster curiosity. To do that, you have to support families and teachers. How do we foster that with kids with disabilities and with behavioral problems? I know that's an ideal answer because we don't live in an ideal world, but I think if we keep that ideal mindset and that tenacity, we can do that.
Yeah, I think it's a really complicated issue because those special needs students require a lot more resources than the rest of the kids. And so we have to be smart about how we allocate those resources and provide those kids the things they need. And on the flip side, some of those kids are highly intelligent, they're just bored, and the curriculum's not hard enough, or not challenging, I should say. And so that gives them time for their minds to wander. And so we need to have a curriculum that's challenging for everybody, but also listen to our administrators and what they feel is the best way to handle some of those other situations.
Ron, I'm going off the rails. I thought of a question while we were standing here. If money were no object, and you could add 3 positions to the district, what 3 positions would you add and why? Let's start with Cody. Take notes, Dr.
Yeah, that's a tough question, especially to lead off with. So top 3 positions, I mean, I think I would add, obviously more teachers to try to get those class sizes down. And more resource officers at each school to help deal with those kids that maybe need a little extra attention. And thirdly, I would set up some kind of community outreach or some way to involve the parents more in their kids' education, because really that's where the foundation for education in the system is.
This is the hardest question, I think. If money were no object, I think there's a half and half in this community where you have some families who have resources and they are educated and they want their kids to succeed. You have the other half of it, I don't want to say the half, I'm generalizing. There's another part of the community, they don't think about their children's education, and they're the ones that are going to be hard to reach. I would like to support those families, because I think there's a lot of hopeless families. Education's not important. I would love to foster hope, like there's more to life than what we have right now. And I would love for them to find joy and like life in living and being a part of the community. If money were no object, I would love to help everybody. I'm not talking about like socialism or anything, because this is like money's an object, it's my money, I can do it. I would do that.
I believe I would add reading coaches for the elementary. I've said that multiple times. It's just because I truly believe if we can really help our young students just have that solid foundation. And maybe it's because I had a child who struggled a little bit in 2nd grade with reading, and he did have a reading coach at that time, and how successful it made him going into 3rd grade. For every grade level in the elementary, we could just have them, be able to help them grow. Also, back to our kids in needs, who need a little structure, or who are in the gifted program, or are on the autism spectrum, have them more teachers, just to, give that more one-on-one time if they could use it. And then, lastly, a teacher or multiple that could go out and reach out to those high school students that really are struggling to show up.
Thank you very much.
So I think one of the things that I would like to see, adding counselors in each building. I know that our counselors get taxed with many things because
they're trying to look out for career advice and all those things at different levels. I would look at, we talk about at-risk kids, but sometimes those kids they just slip through the cracks because they don't really qualify for special help. So putting teachers, whether it be reading teachers, math teachers, things like that for those kids. And then on a little bit of a, since money's no object, I would like to see the VOTEC implement a design and drafting CAD program for students to go into the world of design, because I'm constantly trying to hire them and there isn't any. So
I would want tutors to help, so you can have money's no option. I don't know. But a tutor for each different class, right? So whether it be science or math or English, so that way any student that needs the extra help, or even if they don't really need it, but they want the extra help just to learn more effectively, I feel like that is a great option, and it will also help the teachers because now you have that extra going on top of what you're already learning. Yeah, and I would second the same motion with what Ryan said, that, increase our diversity of teachers and bringing things that are.
Okay, so the real answer to the question, for me at least, is 3 teachers. I'd hire 3 teachers, money were no object, and give one to high school, middle school, and elementary school to deploy as those principals see fit. I think that would help with class sizes. And if money was no object, we'd be able to hire some really good teachers, some real stars from surrounding districts. The sort of tongue-in-cheek answer that I came up with while thinking about it is, money's no object, I'd hire a universal teacher bonus distributor who could just go around distributing money to teachers who are doing really well, increasing morale.
We're winding down, folks, we're winding down. Last two questions. For a 30-second answer, do you believe the district currently does a good job of communicating its successes and failures to the public? Let's start at the end.
Yes, I believe done a great job communicating. I don't know if you know this, but I believe there's like 4 Facebook pages, maybe 5, with the Booster Club added. So you can look us up on Facebook, elementary, high school, middle school, Mount Grove Public, and then also the Booster Club has their own Facebook page. There's text messages, there's phone calls when there's no school or emergencies like we had last week. So yes, I think they do a great job. I don't know if I could.
Thank you very much.
I would say yes. My 8th grader would say no because he took 3rd at a academic team event, and I said, "Did anyone take a picture to put on Facebook?" He said, "No, no one cares about academics. They only care about sports." So I would say yes. I think the school does a good job, but my 8th grader would say no because he's academic team and he does run cross country, but less of a standout baseball, football athlete, and he feels kind of ignored.
I think the school district does a good job communicating, definitely through Facebook and the text and phone calls whenever there's cancellations or issues in school. Yeah, I think they do a good job.
I think we do a fairly good job of communicating our successes and failures. Not sure what these failures are that we're talking about. We are mostly, I think, a very successful school district. I think that by and large, we are seen as a very good school district in this area, one that other school districts want to be for the most part. We communicate that pretty well. I'm not sure how we can do too much better communicating that.
Yeah, I feel that they do a great job, especially with the social media outreach and the phone calls.
Yeah, so the school has really done a good job, especially in the last couple of years of increasing their online presence and the communication. I feel like they've obviously made a concerted effort to do that, to get that out there. I feel like probably they heard some of the community, voice their, concerns with that, and they responded to it, and as a board, that's what you should do.
I don't money out there, second. I was thinking that, All right, final question of the night. If elected, what is one specific policy or change you hope to be remembered for at the end of your term? We're gonna start here with Mr. Allen. And I had it down for a minute. I'm gonna give them a minute and a half. So to repeat the question, if elected, what is the one specific policy or change you hope to be remembered for at the end of your term?
So I can honestly say I have no one specific agenda. My goal as a board member would be to help the school district reach new levels in all areas by whatever measurements we determine that we have never been to. So academics, athletics, all types, the whole school district as a whole. And I would like to be remembered as somebody that all buildings in the school district were achieving at a high level all together. And they're all in sync with each other, and, we're feeding off of each other because, momentum in anything, success breeds success. So if you're feeding off of each other and you're learning from each other, then your district as a whole can be better than it's ever been.
I don't think that there is a specific policy that I would want to be known for. I would want to be known for being honest, standing on my values, and upholding the traditions of our excellent community.
All right, this doesn't have to be hypothetical for me because I have been on the board, and I think there are just a couple of things that I hope to be remembered for. And I think this is part of the value of having a board on the school board too. The first one is real short. I had the idea that we should start our board meetings by standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And I think that's important to do. Reaffirms the patriotic roots of our community and this nation that we're a part of. And I hope that the board continues to do that, whether or not I'm on the board. I see board president Holden nodding his head yes, so I feel like that's a good one. The other one is one that was a topic of my very first board meeting almost 5 years ago. There was an issue before the board as to whether children on school buses needed to be masked. This was back in kind of the tail end of COVID. And the superintendent at the time, not the current superintendent, was saying, we probably need to do this, guys, because we could lose federal funding if we don't go along with the federal rule about kids wearing masks on school buses. I looked at it, I looked at the rule, I researched the authority that the FTA had to say this, and I said, I think this is unconstitutional as applied to school children on buses. I think we shouldn't do it. And at the end of the day, it was a 6-1 vote against masking kids on school buses. And I think that is consistent with the Constitution. Later, the Attorney General of Missouri sued a lot of school districts that had masked kids on buses. So I feel like that was the right answer, and I hope they remember that.
So like Ryan, I don't really have a specific agenda to take to the school board. One of my priorities would definitely be, I would hope to be remembered as someone who's approachable by administration and faculty, and just be open to listening to everyone's concerns. And even if I may not support your position, I definitely want to understand where you're coming from and where you feel we do.
Does it have to be a policy change or just something to be known for?
Up to you.
Okay, because I don't want to radically change the school district. I think it's fantastic. If I can remember for one thing, and I only say this because my 3 oldest all study a language on Duolingo. One is Japanese, one is Greek, and the other is Korean. And if it go crawling back to the question that I didn't even answer correctly about what would I do with the money with the 3 extra teachers, I would love to be known to add a foreign language to the high school that isn't currently here.
I don't need to be known for this. I just would like to help open open the door for the opportunity for our teachers' wages to be raised. I don't know if they currently get raised every year, but I would like to see them raised. But what I would like to be known for is that I listened, I was open-minded, I was caring, and brought what the community was saying to the table for a discussion, and just to have that valued by everyone at the table.
Those are the last of the formal questions. I want to take a moment to thank the school district, specifically Dr. Gurla and Denver Mitchell, for setting up the room, for Board President Mr. Golden sitting in the back, for being here, and for the candidates themselves for taking the time out of their busy schedules for being here for this forum. We're originally slated for a minute each, but that minute for all of us. I feel like we were gelling. So we're going to start at that end and work our way this way. Ms. Williams, if you want to start a minute and a half each for closing statements.
My name is Mackenzie Williams, April 7th. Vote for me. I hope to help the community and help our school district and just bring excellence to the table and further our Panther tradition.
I have nothing but positive things to say about the teachers and administrators in this school district. And I got especially close or grateful for the middle school administration. My oldest had a tumor in 5th grade, and I've heard nightmare stories of parents who had to deal with school districts with their kid who's sick and in and out of hospitals, and they were phenomenal, taking care of my family and making sure that he could go on to the next grade. And I have seen that over and over in my kids in their classes if one is struggling. I'm here to support that. I want to make sure our teachers and administrators get the support that they need, that I'm here to listen and I'm here to help. And I don't have all the answers, but I'm really good at getting answers.
I just want to thank everybody for their time tonight, people running for the board and everybody out there. So I feel like I bring an objective look to issues facing the school district. And I just feel like communication is really important to understanding the issues that are before us. And I think the school district is doing a great job. And in general, I have no priorities to change anything. So I just want to serve the community the best I can. Thanks.
I've really enjoyed this discussion tonight, and I have to say, I feel really good knowing that there's so many involved people in the community, so many great people running to be involved in the school board, and I'm just happy that each of us has decided to run. I have been elected twice to the school board, once for kind of a stub term, that was like for more than half a term, and then for a 3-year term of my own. And it has been a wonderful experience. I have no idea what's going to happen in the race for associate circuit judge, and so I asked for the opportunity to continue serving, whether for the rest of this year or possibly for a 3-year term on the school board. I think our school district is admirable and is the envy of basically every other school district around us, and we will continue to be excellent as we foster curiosity, as we recognize and celebrate effort, and as we create a love of learning in our students. I think that's so important. And then just making sure that we do that within the resources we're given. We don't need to raise taxes, I feel, to compensate our teachers well and do what we need.
I think the voters are in a really hard position. Everyone up here is answering the questions well. I feel confident in whoever gets the vote. If you vote for me, just let you know, I will do the best to the ability that I have.
So I'm Ryan Allen, but on the ballot, I will be James Ryan Allen, so hopefully that doesn't confuse anybody. Most importantly, I just want you guys to know that I love the community. It's a community that shaped me, school district that shaped me for all my endeavors in life. And I just want you all to know that I'll be extremely approachable with whatever issues that you have.
And if you look at all our stuff, it says tradition excellence. You know, you can't move forward without a great foundation. And this school district has got a great foundation. So we just lean on that and we try to just reach those goals that we set for ourselves. Just thank you for allowing us to speak tonight, and we appreciate it.
Once again, thank you to all the candidates for coming and speaking this evening, and thank you to Mountain Grove School District for allowing us the space to do this. On behalf of myself and Ron, the Wright County Journal, thank you very much and have a great day.